apply that on a consistent basis, you will see the Xavier Rhodes penalties disappear. And then you can all tell me how much you're thankful to me for enlightening you beforehand. All right, but that's the Purple Vein. Oh, no, wait. We got this upcoming week's game at home against the 4-3 St. Louis Rams. Now, Vikings are 5-2. I, for one, am highly, leery. We'll go with leery about this game. This is a game that most people here in Vikings country think, oh, Vikes are going to win for sure. We're on a roll. Rams aren't that good. They got no quarterback, blah, blah, blah. The Rams are almost a complete mirror image of the Vikings, with the exception that they're younger, possibly more talented, have a more proven head coach, but don't have as good a wide receivers as we do. Like that's about the only thing on paper, other than maybe quarterback as well. But I'd put Foles and Teddy Bridgewater as a push, to be quite honest with you, in the quarterback matchup. Running back matchup, Todd Gurley, Adrian Peterson, that's a push. Their offensive line versus our offensive line, that is a question mark. That's not a push. That's not an advantage Rams. That's not an advantage Vikings. That one is up for grabs. And so that is going to be key. The quarterback one might be up for grabs as well. Wide receiver advantage definitely goes to the Vikings. So if the Vikings can take advantage of that, that should help. But our wide receivers don't need to be better than their wide receivers. Our wide receivers need to be better than their defensive backs, where their whole defense in general is very good. You could say that the defenses overall would be a push. You could say that their defensive line would have an advantage over our offensive line. Linebackers, you'd probably have to say that they're either a push or we have a slight advantage maybe. I don't know. And then secondary, I think, would be push or Vikings advantage. I would definitely say secondary is Vikings advantage. Like I said, I think Rhodes is playing amazing, and Captain Munnerlin's playing amazing, and Harrison Smith is a beast. Although he's been a little inconsistent as of late, still stud player. So I'd give the Vikings secondary the advantage there, but overall the defenses are about a push, and the offenses are pretty close to a push. So that's why, like I said, the two keys for the Vikings to win this game is going to be our offensive line is going to need to play well, and then our wide receivers are going to need to be involved and make some plays throughout the course of the game. Not necessarily put up monster numbers, but like I said, just be impactful. Assuming we can can get those productions and then not have fluke, special teams plays or turnovers that go the Rams' way, Vikings should win. However, this feels like the type of game that the Vikings lose to the type of team they lose to. So it'll be interesting. But let's get to our recap of last week's games, find out how I did picking, and then let's get my picks for this week's games. And we'll be done with pro football here in the Spew. Alright, so last week I had another above 500 week. I went 8 of 14 on my picks. And let's get underway on the Thursday night game. The Patriots crushed the Miami Dolphins in New England, 36-7. So the new interim coach for the Dolphins got his first loss, and he got it in a painful and embarrassing fashion. But look for them to rebound likely next week. I would think that's probably the best thing that could have happened for them, was just a little dose of reality and humble pie. Then over in London, early Sunday morning, we had the Chiefs hosting the Lions, hosting in air quotations because it's on a neutral site. There is no home team. They're both the road team. But the Kansas City Chiefs demolish the Detroit Lions 45-10. People are complaining that we're sending lousy teams over there and blah, blah, blah. It's like, It's the NFL. You don't always know who's going to be good and who's not going to be good. And secondly, if we'd have sent the frickin' Patriots and the Dolphins over there and it would have been the Patriots 45 and the Dolphins 10, nobody would have been complaining about that. But because it's the Chiefs 45 who have only got, 2 wins this year, 3 wins this year, and the Lions who only got 1 win, then people complain about it. Whatever. Spare me. But so anyway, the Chiefs, extremely impressive in that one, again winning 45-10 over the Lions. Then we had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road upsetting the Atlanta Falcons 23-20. Got that one wrong. We had the Vikings on the road beating the Bears 23-20, as we discussed earlier. Yay, Skol Vikings. We had the Bengals of Cincinnati beat their division rival Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. That's always a tough place to win, no matter who they got on the field, by a very close, low score of 16-10. Then we had the Cardinals on the road beating the Cleveland Browns, by a score of 34-20. I picked Cleveland to win that one, and Cleveland actually came out of the gates really hot in that one. They were winning 20-3, or I don't know, something like that. It was a fairly big lead, but then they turned back into the Cleveland Browns. Then we had the Tennessee Titans losing on the road to Houston Texans 20-6. We had the Niners losing on the road to the St. Louis Rams 27-6. We had the San Diego Chargers losing on the road to the Baltimore Ravens 29-26, so another 3-point game. We had the Jets lose on the road to the Raiders 34-20. Ryan Fitzpatrick, starting quarterback, went out with a fractured thumb on his non-throwing hand. Geno Smith came in. I want to say Geno Smith is also injured now. Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to play this next week with that fractured thumb on his non-throwing hand. However, expect that to make it really tough on him and the Jets. That is, don't think that just because it's on the hand he doesn't throw on, that ain't going to have a major impact on what he can do out on the field and how well he plays. It most certainly will. But so the Raiders go above 500 with that win. Then we had the Seahawks on the road beating the Dallas Cowboys 13-12 in a battle for who can suck just a tiny bit less than the other guy. And then in the Sunday night game of the year, at least that's what it was being billed as, the Green Bay Packers lose on the road in convincing fashion to the Denver Broncos 29-10. That is the Packers' first loss on the season, and the Broncos remain undefeated and now go from the consensus weakest, worst undefeated team to who should be arguably the second best or maybe even the best of the undefeated teams, either along with or right behind the New England Patriots. So kudos to the Broncos for winning that one, and thank you to the Broncos for winning that one. Then on Monday night, in overtime, we had the Carolina Panthers beat the Indianapolis Colts in Carolina 29-26. If you paid attention closely, you'll have noticed there was one game that I missed out, and that was the game of the freaking year. It was not the Broncos-Packers. It was the New York Giants at the New Orleans Saints. The reasons it was the game of the year. The New Orleans Saints won that game by 3 points, with the final score being 52-49. That is right, 101 combined points in that game, the third most all-time. Eli Manning passed for 6 touchdowns, one shy of the single-game record, threw no interceptions, and did not win the game. That is the first time in NFL history that such thing has ever occurred. Now on the other side, on the winning side, Drew Brees threw an NFL record-tying 7 touchdown passes. So for a combined total of 13 passing touchdowns in that game, has to be a record, or tied for the record. I mean, there's no way that 2 of the guys tied for the record both did it in the same game, and but the record, the highest record for passing touchdowns in a game possible is 14, and in all reality it'd have to be 13 or 12. So somebody should look into that for me. and find out if that is in fact the most passing touchdowns of all time in a game combined. I would certainly believe it is, but you never know. But so congratulations to Drew Brees on that as well. Super heartbreaking for the Giants. But that's how it works. Sometimes it comes down to luck. Sometimes it comes down to who's got the ball last. So that's how it goes. But what a historic, insane game. All right, so now on to this next week's games. We have on the Thursday night game, another division game. That's kind of the theme this year. We got the Cleveland Browns on the road at the Cincinnati Bengals, the undefeated Cincinnati Bengals, either the second or third best team in all of football right now. Without question, the Bengals should win this game. That's a great eliminator or survivor league pick if you still got them available this year. Bengals win big. Bills hosting the Dolphins. Assuming Tyrod Taylor is back for the Bills, I think the Bills will win that at home. If E.J. Manuel is the quarterback of the Bills, actually, you know what? We're changing that. We are changing that to the Miami Dolphins bouncing back from that shellacking at the hand of the Patriots. They got extra time to prepare. Bills are in a bit of a downward spiral. Health issues at quarterback. We're picking Miami on the road to beat the Bills. All right, then we've got the Green Bay Packers on the road at the Carolina Panthers. The two top teams in the NFC, undefeated Carolina Panthers, one-loss Green Bay Packers. In Carolina, I don't believe in the Panthers at all, but I'm really hoping they can continue to be legit for at least one more week and win this home game against the Packers. However, I am picking the Packers to win that game and hand the Carolina Panthers their first loss. But it's a coin flip, to be quite honest with you. All right, then we've got, this one should be ugly. We got the Tennessee Titans at the New Orleans Saints. Picking Saints in that one. Titans just are terrible. Saints aren't that great either, but they're at home and they're not quite that bad. They're just super inconsistent, though. Next, we've got the Oakland Raiders at the Pittsburgh Steelers. This should be a great game. Had Le'Veon Bell not gone out with injury, it would still be a great game, but it'd be much more likely a Steelers win. Now, with Bell out, it's much more 50-50 coin flip. Raiders are playing real good football, and they're fairly healthy. Don't be surprised if the Raiders win that one. But anytime it's a coin flip, I like to go with the home team, so I will pick the Pittsburgh Steelers to win that one. Next, we have the St. Louis Rams at the Minnesota Vikings. I am officially picking the Minnesota Vikings to win this home game. It does come down to the two matchups that I highlighted earlier. However, do not be surprised and don't overreact either if the Rams, in fact, do play a better ball game and come out victorious in a fairly closely contested, low-scoring game. The only way you should come out of this game genuinely concerned if you're a Vikings fan is if they put up over 30 points on us and we get blown out. That's the only way you should be. That's the only outcome that should concern you from that game. Next, we've got the Washington Redskins at the New England Patriots. That should be a Patriots win in blowout fashion per their weekly usual. Then we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road at the New York Jets. Jets have issues at the quarterback position. I cannot stress that enough. And the Jaguars are better than their record, young and talented. And I'm picking the Jaguars to win on the road in that game. Next, we've got the Atlanta Falcons on the road at the San Francisco 49ers. I don't think that that honestly that's why the Falcons and the Panthers have such great records, is because their schedule is unfathomably easy. But so the Falcons will likely get another win in unimpressive fashion on the road against the 49ers this week, picking Falcons. Giants on the road at the Tampa Bay Bucks. Jameis Winston is playing fairly good as of late. Giants are up and down inconsistent. They're a good team, but they're Jekyll and Hyde. I will pick the Giants to win that game, but don't be surprised if the Buccaneers win that game. They are the home team. They are playing better as of late, and Giants have been inconsistent as of late. But we're going with the road team because they are the better team. If If the Giants play their best versus the Buccaneers' best, the Giants will win. Next, we've got the Denver Broncos at the Indianapolis Colts. Peyton Manning returns to Indianapolis again.